Alright, legends, welcome along to Hellmouth Hotline. I am your host, Rodney Stewart. We're getting on to Buffy the Vampire Slayer in this episode. This is Season 4, Episode 19, New Moon Rising. So we get Oz back in this episode. Willow and Tara, at the beginning, they're talking about getting a cat as a pet. Later they go to the Scooby Gang meeting in Jade's apartment. Buffy's explaining what's going on. Jade suspect has to do with Adam. On the other hand, Riley says the initiative has been busy capturing demons like never before. Flat out, suddenly Oz appears in the doorway and arranges to talk with Willow later that night. In this episode, this is Willow trying to do her best to bring Tara into the group, so nobody really at this point understands what's going on between Willow and Tara, but us as a viewer, like, we're 10 miles ahead of the rest of them. Oz appears in the doorway, arranges to talk with her later on. After he leaves, Anya remarks everyone is uncomfortable. Tara says that she has to study group and leaves as well. She's uncomfortable knowing the history between Oz and Willow. That night at the cemetery, Buffy and Reddy capture a demon for the initiative, and Buffy tells him how Willow and Oz broke up. And Reddy, he's surprised that Oz is a werewolf. It's just, he comments that Willow seems smarter than the sort of girl who would date a dangerous guy. Excuse me. Buffy argues that love isn't rational and calls him a bigot. Riley assures Buffy he isn't talking about her, but she ends the subject. Of course, she had a little nerve hit right there whenever he went all judgmental on Willow, dating, say, a demon. Of course, that brings up the whole angel thing in her head. Little nerve hit for Buffy at the beginning of this episode. Over at the initiative, Graham patrols with a team. They're all attacked by a demon. Next morning, Willow goes to the bathroom after talking with Oz all night. He answers the door when Tara knocks on the dorm room, but she nervously decides to leave. Over with Buffy, she wakes up at Reddy's, and he notices she's still irritated from the previous conversation. Buffy explains he sounded like he believed that all demons are evil and people are all good. But Reddy sees nothing wrong with his interpretation, which is fair enough at the end of the day. Forrest interrupts him with the news that one of the soldiers has died and Graham has been injured in the demon attack. In their dorm, Willow surprises Buffy about Oz being able to control the wolf. I skipped right over that there. The night before, he pointed up to the sky and Willow looks up and there's a full moon. He hasn't changed, so he's gone through all these different therapies and shamans and whatnot, and found ways of dealing with his anger, and he's able to control the wolf now. Essentially the Bruce Banner of the group, trying to cage the Hulk. In this case, Oz has found something that works at this point. And we kind of bounce off the Incredible Hulk sort of territory again later in this episode. Where are we at in the notes? Buffy's even more surprised as Willow mentions that things with Oz are complicated because of Tara getting over her initial reaction. Buffy supports her friend's feelings and advises her to be honest. So, it's starting to come out now that Willow is romantically attracted to Tara. Of course, we know Tara's 100% on board with getting into Willow. Adam goes to Spike's crypt, offers to get the chip out of his head in exchange for help against Buffy. Willow and Tara, over with them, they hug after clearing up that Oz and Willow only talked the night before. Afterward, Oz smells Willow on Tara. She's walking through the university, comes across him. He's got books with him. He's going to come back, study at the university, but he starts to, has heightened sense of smell now because of the werewolf in him. He loses control after realizing that the pair of them are involved, and he starts to transform into the werewolf as he tells her to run. Werewolf Oz chases her until the initiative commandos turn up in the university, stun him, take him away. Tara can't stop them, and she runs to tell Willow what happened. Down in the lower levels of the initiative, scientists perform tests on Oz, and he returns to his human form. This surprises Riley, realising who it is they've got captured here. He's escorted out of the lab when he tries to argue against these experiments. They put a bit of shock therapy into Oz, and he again changes to the werewolf. So, Riley returns to help Oz escape, but they get caught. Colonel McNamara tells Riley that betraying the initiative could land him in prison. So he's getting to the point in his story in this season where it's time for him to choose which side he wants to be on. But it's not going to be as easy as he thinks. Spike shows up at Giles' place and offers to lead Buffy and the gang into the initiative facilities. Dressed as commandos and scientists, the gang sneak on through the back door. Adam uses a computer to shut down the power for most of the city, including the initiative, holding the Colonel hostage. Buffy and Riley and Oz. Buffy gets Riley and Oz free. Riley leaves the initiative for good now that his life is in danger. Riley camps out in the ruins of Sunnydale High School, and he tells Buffy he was wrong about Oz. Buffy says she needs to tell him something about her past. So of course she's going to go into the details of the whole Angel story here, Fulham. And at the end of the episode, I've really skipped over a heck of a lot of stuff in this little chat about Buffy because it's just late in the night and I'm running behind as per usual. Isn't the best episode you're going to ever come across in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but it is what it is. There's a lot of action in there with trying to get Riley and Oz out of the initiative. Of course, Spike is in there. He's playing double agent now for Adam as well. So he's trying to play the trust card at this point to get into the group once again, to put another plan into action, which happens in the upcoming episodes. At the end of the episode, in Oz's van, Willow and Oz say their goodbyes. He acknowledges that she's his weak spot. He can't believe that, he spent all this time trying to find a way to control the werewolf in him, and now realises that the one thing that pulls the werewolf out is her, so they can't ever be together. And she's like, she'll always in a way be looking for him, and even she's a little old lady, she'll still be keeping an eye, see where he's at. They'll just never safe seeing each other again, but this is no longer their time. So kind of an our Buffy and Angel sort of thing. We love each other, but we can never be together sort of deal. Back at the dorms, still without power, Willow brings Tara a lit candle. Tara tells Willow that she should be with the person she loves. Willow replies that she is, and she's going to make up for everything she put Tara through, starting now. So Tara has a nice little perverted smile on her face, and she blows out the candle with Fade to Black, and we close out the episode there. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, brilliant series. It was one of these shows that the way they handled the storyline with Willow and Tara, was very delicate. And back at that stage, 2000, this was never that sort of thing. I don't want to say it was taboo at that point, but it's a gay relationship between two women back in the year 2000 wasn't talked about just as openly as it was now. And I think Buffy the Vampire Slayer laid a lot of the groundwork for bringing it into the mainstream for a lot of people, and give some people the the courage to actually be open and honest about how they felt about romantically towards someone of the same sex. And I can respect that. I've known quite a few people in the past. A few very close friends of mine are actually gay, and I've seen what they've gone through in the past and the fear that they had of actually telling someone that this is who I am, this is who I'm attracted to and whatnot. And like I've actually had the experience of a couple of friends actually sitting me down, and we've got something to tell you, and out of respect for them, I'm not going to say who they are because it's nobody's business but their own. But I can remember them coming into the house. I made a cup of coffee for them. The whole thing sat down. We're having a little chat, and they were like, "Okay, we've got something very important to tell you." They were very incredibly nervous at bringing it out, and it's just something that me having known them for quite a long time, in all honesty, in the years leading up to this conversation, I wasn't going to be shocked at that news about these two people, but this would have been about that same time frame, actually, probably 2000, 2001 or thereabouts, maybe actually earlier than that. But yeah, they were intensely nervous about telling this information about themselves and coming out to me, and you could see that nervousness and the way that they were talking, because in their mind this could go one way or the other. We could be accepted here, or this could be the end of the friendship. It's just the reality of what it was like back in the year 2000 whenever this episode was brought out. So yeah, and of course I wasn't shocked, and I was just like, let them say their piece, and I'm like, you know what, you're my friends, I can accept you for whoever you are, and it's been all fine and well. And until this day, right now, we are still very close friends, and yeah, I can respect anybody that has to deal with that and coming out to people. Now, it's not an easy thing to do if you are that way romantically inclined. So yeah, I can completely get it, looking back at Buffy the Vampire Slayer and everything they go through in this season 4 in particular. And I think it's actually the next episode in the series where everything comes out 100% to the whole group, and there's some comedic moments whenever it comes out, but at the end of the story, everybody accepts everybody for who they are, all fine and good. So fantastic episode. I did say it's probably not one of the strongest ones in the series, but I think this was more or less a closer for Oz. I can't recall offhand at this point, but I don't think Oz shows up again ever in the series. I might be wrong, but at this point I'm kind of thinking to myself, that's probably it for him. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Until the next one, stay safe, and we're just in the mouth of Halloween here, so get out there with your kids, get some trick-or-treating going, sit down, watch some scary movies, or if you want to listen to a half-wit talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, or horror movies in general. Yeah, if you're into the horror movie side of things on the channel here, at this point I've definitely done all the Nightmare on Elm Streets and all the Halloween movies, so go back and check out a few of the podcasts. I would love you forever if you would do that. So until the next one, stay safe, and I'll talk to you all then. This has been a production of Coins Age Media. Thank you so much for listening.